quick disclaimer, we are not investigative journalists. We simply read, watch, and listen to whatever we can to satisfy our curiosity while use this information to form our own personal opinions. Do not take this as investigative journalism. This is simply our own rabbit holes.
Hello, friends, and get ready. We're going to talk about the docs, the crimes, and all the people involved. This is Crime and Chill.
Hey guys, I'm Victoria.
I'm Rachel.
How are you today, Rachel?
You know, I'm okay. How are you?
I'm existing. That's it. That's all we're getting today is existence.
Hey, it's okay. What's your existing?
Yep. What you got in crime news today?
Well, you know how we talked, I don't know what week we recorded it for whatever, but Ghislaine Maxwell was found guilty and she was going to go through her sentencing and everything else.
Yes.
We haven't even gotten to sentencing yet, and they're looking for a new trial.
Already?
So one of the jurors did not disclose that he was a victim of sexual abuse and used in closing arguments of jury toleration back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much talked about how it was detrimental to him and everything else. And obviously the defense attorney wanted to know if anybody else was a victim of sexual abuse, because if you are a victim of the same crime that you're going after, you're obviously going to have more of a persuasive remark in it. Well, he put that he was not a victim, and he point blank said no, never. Then during jury deliberations, he deliberately made all of the other jurors aware that he was a victim of sexual harassment or abuse, and used that as why she should be convicted.
Dude, you just fucked the whole trial.
Yep.
They're gonna get a new trial.
They have to.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, so it's like the Scott Peterson case where that juror lied about being involved in any cases and was wrong, and he should have got a new trial then, but she's going to get a new trial.
She's going to get a new trial because there's a reason why they ask the questions that they do.
Yeah.
Why would you fucking lie? And then why would you not wait until she's at least fucking sentenced before it gets put out? If it was talked about in deliberations and it bothered any of the other jurors, they should have stopped before they sentenced anybody. They convicted him.
Yeah. So did he go public and say that?
It doesn't say. It just says that it was brought to the attention that he, A, lied on his questionnaire.
Yeah.
And then B, discussed it with other jurors.
Jesus Christ. Thank you, juror whatever. You just fucked up that case.
Yep. And I'm sorry, at this point, the juror, again, did not disclose a sexual abuse history. So he's still denying it, I guess, but other jurors are saying that, no, he did talk about it.
Well, damn.
Yeah. The other thing I'm really disgusted by, have you heard about Harmony Montgomery out of, like, the New England area?
No.
Okay. So she went missing 2 years ago, but wasn't reported missing until just a couple weeks ago.
I did hear about this.
Okay. So a lot of people are confused about why no one reported her missing.
Yeah.
All right. Let me break it down a little bit quickly for you. Mother did not have custody.
Mm-hmm.
Father had custody due to mother's substance abuse issues.
Okay.
Mother was has been clean for a while.
Okay.
Trying to get in contact with her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And each time there's been an excuse. Father had custody, was with another woman. The woman was under the assumption, because dad said, I'm taking her 2 years ago to go see her mother. Comes back, she's not there. So, new wife thought child was with mother. Mother has been trying to reach father. Has gone through phone calls, text messages, numbers blocked. They moved, sent police for welfare. Social services were unable to locate them. All this other BS. First of all, why was a child just now reported missing? There's somebody mishandled it.
Yep.
Either way.
Because if social services couldn't find them and the police couldn't find them to do a welfare check, y'all dropped the ball.
Much like the case out of Utah with the 3 kids. And yeah. So she's been missing since 2019. Just reported at the beginning of the new year that she was missing. The reward now is $60,000 for her body to be recovered because they do not believe she's alive.
No. Sadly, I don't either.
No. He was arrested, though, as well as the new wife, and charged with felony second-degree assault, interference with custody, and 2 charges of endangering the welfare of a child. The new wife was also arrested for government benefits fraud. Oh. Because she never removed Harmony from their food stamps card.
Mm.
If she supposedly thought Harmony was with her mother,
Yeah.
and has been since 2019, why were you still getting food stamps from her? It was only like $1,500, of course, 2 years, but still.
Oh,
There's been reports from the father. Harmony's father's name is Adam. There's been reports from the brother that he would abuse the child, bashing her head into the wall, making her scrub toilets with a toothbrush. Mind you, this baby would have only been about 5.
Oh.
Yeah.
Poor baby.
Yep. So
That's sad. That's awful.
I hope your crime today is a little bit more not as sad as that one.
Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but sadly, my crime stuff is not any happier. It's just very interesting.
I'll take interesting.
So, today, I'm going to be telling you about the murders of 5-year-olds Tessara
Jesus.
and Samantha Crespi.
We already just talked about a 5-year-old.
I
I should
know.
have asked before crime news so we didn't have to be so sad. Okay.
So, before we talk about the actual murders that took place, there's a lot that goes on beforehand.
Beforehand to 5-year-olds?
Beforehand to the 5-year-olds, there's a whole backstory. Let me tell you.
What could go on in 5 years?
Oh, we're not going back just 5 years. We're going back pretty far. There's a lot that leads up to all of this, and it's all relevant. So I'm going to start with their father, David Crespi. I don't know how to say their name correctly. It's Crespi. I'm saying Crespi. I don't know if it's correct. So that's the girl's father. He had gotten married to Kimberly, who he had dated throughout college, a year after they had graduated, and they had 2 children together. But Kimberly passed away about a year after she was diagnosed with a fatal brain tumor. So in 1994, David married Kim, who he had also known through college. They were both business majors focusing in accounting. They joined the same clubs on campus.
So they were not uneducated.
No.
Okay, so this is a well-rounded person. He's got a college education. He's involved in groups. Okay.
Yeah. So Kim, his second wife, which I know can be confusing because first wife was Kimberly, second wife is Kim. Kimberly,
K2 is a new wife.
she adopted David's 2 children from his
Right.
first marriage.
From K1.
And then in 1996, they had their first son together. And then in 2000, they had the twins, Tessara and Samantha. David was very successful in his career. He moved up the corporate ladder. And eventually, his career took the family to where they had been living when this happened, from California to Charlotte, North Carolina. David struggled with anxiety and like sleeplessness and problems with that. And according to the family's website, they can pinpoint like 6 episodes in his adult life of this. And they were all treated with different medications. Every single time it was something different. But the episodes would last anywhere from 2 to 15 months. But the anxiety and sleeplessness that they were treating with the medication would also bring depression.
What's supposed to.
Exactly. And some of them caused some other issues. So in October of 2003 to December of 2003, David had been diagnosed with testicular cancer and went through the treatments from all that. So in March of 2004, all of that combined brought on another episode of his stuff, of his anxiety, sleeplessness, just not doing well. Understandable.
Yeah. I gotta give him props though, because most men that experience those type of mental conditions wouldn't seek help for them.
Yeah. And I think it's good that they were doing that. But this was the first episode that he had in Charlotte. So they were in California. At this point, they had moved to Charlotte. He had went through the treatments, and then this episode starts. So they had to set up their support system there because they had the system in California that they needed to go through the lines. In Charlotte, they got the support system, they got everything going, and David was being treated with Paxil, which if you don't know about Paxil, Paxil is one of those medications that it's a very, very wide range of uses.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just so you guys can understand, like, it can be prescribed for things like anxiety, depression, OCD, PTSD, body dysmorphia, and trichomania. I don't really think I said that right, but that's the condition that causes you to impulsively pull out your hair.
And
Hypochondria.
All of these are mental health conditions.
Right.
So it's not like it's not like it treats your heart and your brain at the same time.
No, it's just
mainly it's like Nick's medication is epilepsy or schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Those are completely different things. It does not make sense to me how it works for both.
Right.
But those are all things that I can understand. It works along the same lines.
Right, but a lot of them all fall in different categories. Because body dysmorphia is over here, depression and OCD is over here, hypochondria is over here. Like.
Okay, yes, but no.
Yeah.
Because depression is a hormone in your brain I can understand that more.
Yeah.
Those are all mental health conditions.
It's just insane how one medication is all over.
Know?
Yeah.
Like, how does it know what it's doing? Unless a person who has depression can also have these other traits that are not usually spoken about. But anyways, go ahead. Interesting. He's on Paxil.
So Paxil caused depression in David, and we know medication side effects, even medications made for depression and things like that, can cause depression to worsen.
Yeah, it could cause suicidal problems. A lot of people with ADHD can't take SSRIs, which is a lot of depression medication that causes suicidal thoughts.
Right. So, but the depression was worse. Everything was going bad. It had caused like weight gain in him, and that had created health issues on his own. But finally, in April of 2005, David was starting to do better. So they started tapering off the medication for him to completely come off of it. Which, if you don't know, like when you're on a medication, especially long term like this is about a year, it's not just you're gonna taper off of it and it's gonna be out of your system and you're gonna be fine. Like, no, it takes a while to get out of your system. In early January 2006, David had started feeling anxious again and returned to the doctor because he was scared of having another full episode of this anxiety and sleeplessness and things like that.
Props, dude. And
since Paxil had caused some serious weight gain for him and some other things, the doctor this time suggested Prozac.
Mm-hmm.
And when they asked, like, what side effects should we be aware of, it could cause weight loss. And Prozac is still a broad use, depression, OCD, anxiety, bulimia.
Panic disorders, a whole bunch.
Yeah. So, leading up to January 20th, this is from the family's website. This is a list of medications David had taken leading up, again, to January 20th, 2006. He had taken 10 days of clarithromycin, an antibiotic respiratory infection, 10 days of trazodone, which is an antidepressant.
It also helps with sleeping.
7 nights of Ambien for sleep, but was not helping him sleep. 1 night of Lunesta, and 7 days of Prozac.
And these were all mixed during the same time. So 10 days but it was all during the same sequence of days.
Yes, leading up to the 20th. So
was it like 10 days, like if you look at the calendar, was like the first week 1, the second week 1, or was it?
It seems to me, based on the family's website, that it was all, like, if we go to the 10 days of clarithromycin, that I would say that that's where it started, or shortly beforehand. So he was on all this leading up. Just keep that in mind. There's a lot of medications in play here. On January 19th, 2006, David and Kim had gone to therapy together. And in that session, David was saying things that weren't true to the therapist. He was saying they were going bankrupt, they were going to lose their house, he was going to lose his job, all this stuff. None of that was happening. Everything was fine.
So he was just having anxiety, making his own fears.
Something like that. Like, he, honest to God, thought all of this was happening. Kim also said that in that therapy session, she, like, touched his arm, and he jumped. Like, it scared him for some reason. And she was like, is it okay if I touch you? And he was like, no, it's okay. It's fine. So the night of January 19th, David had taken the Lunesta, which was the sample that the therapist had given him earlier that day because the Ambien wasn't working. But he only slept about an hour, and then he woke up, like, really nauseous. Side effect. It can happen.
Yeah.
And again, from the family's website, they're unsure if during that time frame when he got up and was, like, doing whatever, if he took Ambien. Neither Kim nor David remembers. Now we come to January 20th, 2006. 5-year-old Tessara and Samantha had stayed home from school with colds. David was home that day due to medications, lack of sleep, and just a bad week, so he didn't go to work that day. And according to the entire family, David had never been violent. Never shown any signs of violence at all. So Kim wasn't worried when she left around noon for a haircut, leaving the girls with their father. The girls wanted to play hide and seek with him. Sadly, this should have been just a fun game between 2 5-year-olds and their father, just having a fun time. David stabbed both girls, killing them. Samantha was stabbed 18 times, and Tessara was stabbed about 14 times.
Damn.
Yeah.
That escalated quickly. All
of this, from the time Kim left to when David placed the 911 call himself, was about 15 minutes.
So as soon as she left?
Almost. It seems like almost as soon as she left. 15 to 20 minutes.
That's a lot of stabbing. Like, do you want to play a game and have that many stab? Like, that was quick.
Yeah. And I could be wrong about the timeline. That's just kind of what I'm getting from multiple places. So I'm not 100% sure on the time frame. It's a little bit confusing. I'm not going to lie. So David called 911 himself and he told them that he had just killed his daughters.
And what did he say was the reasoning?
He does not say. So he said, they asked him if he was on medication, and he said yes, antidepressants, and you can hear this 911 call. The 911 operators told him to keep talking because he sounded tired, and they were worried he took too much medication, to which David replied, no, this is real.
This is real what? Oh, so they thought he was just, like, high and thought he killed the daughters.
I don't think they thought that. I think they were honestly concerned that he had actually taken too much of medication and had, like, was overdosing.
Oh, okay.
And because, like I said earlier, David was saying things that were happening that weren't happening. And it seems like he was telling himself, like, I don't know if he was telling them or himself more that this is real. This is this happened. Kim came home around 1:20-ish to the police officers being everywhere. And she said, like, when she turned on the road and saw that, they let a car in front of her go. And then when it got to her, they asked her to get out of the car. And that is when they told her that David had killed their daughters. He admitted to it. He did it. There was also talks of, like, him having a bunch of violent thoughts beforehand. And even, like, earlier in his adult life. But apparently this isn't the case. He had just expressed suicidal thoughts to the officers this day. But he was also having these paranoid thoughts. When David's arrested, he's in prison. Kim doesn't get to see him for a while. While he's there, David gets diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
All of these doctors beforehand couldn't diagnose bipolar disorder?
Well, this is also up for debate. The thing is, if he is or was truly bipolar, if you take Prozac or Paxil, you can't take it. You're not supposed to take it. It makes everything worse.
It's just like having ADHD. I can't take SSRIs. I cannot take them.
No.
That's why Wellbutrin is the only thing on the depression list of medication that I can take.
So David then started being treated with lithium. Extreme, but a semi-normal treatment for bipolar.
Yes.
And
a little late.
Yeah. So apparently he was, like, very drugged up, and he was told that he would be hurting his family more by going through with a trial where the prosecution was seeking the death penalty. Kim had also gotten information that she was passing along to his attorneys about how these medications can mess with your brain that he was on. Because, again, even if you go off a medication, it is still in your system for a while.
Hindsight's 20/20.
So David, again, they're saying that he was very highly dosed on lithium. He just drugged up, and they told him that he was going to be hurting his family. He pled guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder, and those both were given a life sentence without the possibility of parole to be served consecutively, which how else would you serve life? Which you'd think, okay, this is where it ends. No. So while in prison, he's been in prison for a little while at this point. I'm unsure of exact timelines because they do not give exact dates. David was allowed to get off of all of his medications, including the lithium. And once the withdrawals happened, it was tough. He was in prison. It was really hard. They had moved him to a facility that the family had seemed to be more like dangerous. But this facility also gave him the ability to call the family every night for 10 minutes versus the other place he was at was just kind of whenever the phone was free. But they said once he came off the lithium and was, like, stabling out, they were seeing the old David, like who David was. And this is when Kim says she starts to see what actually was going on. And then, like I said, David he had anxiety and sleeping issues, but he was never depressed unless he was on the medication. Other than that, he had no depression. He was fine. But Kim says that they now know that chemical sensitivity runs in their family. And if you have a chemical sensitivity and you take medications, these medications can mess with your brain. It can make things much, much worse. One of the things that comes with SSRIs is akathisia, and it kind of causes, like, restlessness. And Kim now believes that was an issue David was having that was being mistaken for the sleeplessness. And that was being treated by different medications. Because if you're restless and you can't sleep and you're going to get up and move around because it kind of just makes you feel like something's crawling. It's weird. I understand.
Yeah, there's a certain ADHD medication that makes it feel literally like bugs are crawling all over my skin.
Mm-hmm. That's what that is.
Yeah.
So Kim, already beforehand of him coming off these medications, believed that what happened because of the medications, because of this chemical sensitivity, because of all these side effects, because of medication-induced psychosis. David believed that he was mentally ill and he was bipolar. Now, David is siding with what Kim says. That now that he's off of all these medications, is, like, thinking clearly, he's just, like, in shock. Like, he knows what he did. He believed he had to ask for forgiveness for what he did. Kim never blamed him after she had that time to figure it out. She didn't blame him. She blamed the medication, which this is 100% a possibility.
Oh, yeah.
But none of this was ever brought up. They didn't do a full trial, so it was never brought up that it could have been the medication. And David, since he's been in prison, has been helping people with their GEDs and different things so they can be productive members of society when they get out. So David's doing good things in prison, but Kim is still fighting for his release because she does not believe that he should have been put into the prison.
Has anybody, such as Dr. Phil or Dr. the big...
I'm glad you asked.
I was pretty sure I've heard this case. That's why I asked.
So it was actually on Oprah.
Okay.
And it was on Oprah in either late 2006, early 2007.
And at that point, was she already thinking psychosis?
Yes.
Okay.
And she thought, when it had been approached, she thought that it was going to be something else. And then when she saw the Oprah Winfrey show, she saw how Oprah went after David and was very, in Kim's mind, cruel and not at all understanding, and literally was saying that's where he should be. He should be spending the rest of his life in prison and blah, 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 blah. They were also on 2020. So
same.
Seems like the same kind of thing. So I'm going to read something from the question and answer section of the family's website. This is what Kim thinks should have happened. So after the murders, it says, the question on the website says, what should have happened? From the statement, it says, quote, definitely arrest. Then the umbrella of mental health care in America should have stepped in to figure it out. They should not hold someone criminally responsible for medication-induced acts beyond a person's ability to resist. Then a hospital, parentheses highly secured, for recovery and restoration into society. The truth alleviates the fear that could take over us if we thought this was a random, unexplained event. In prison, David has never taken a violent moment. He has witnessed violence. He is a peacemaker, a helper, a man in prison for an act where he was one of the victims. Is this just? I don't think so. So Kim doesn't believe he's at fault. They're still married. That is her husband. She's not going anywhere. From the family's website, her statement is, quote, if someone you love has always been wonderful and does the unthinkable, do you stop loving him or do you try to figure out what happened? Do you stay in the horror letting fear overtake you? Or do you look for the higher angels of our nature to guide us and alert us to the truth? The truth is liberating, and faith in the higher purposes of this life propels us on. God must have a plan for good in all this that appears bad. On so many levels. I believe in a loving God who guides us through this life. Granted, much of our story does not feel like love, but there is purpose. I still love David Crespi and want the truth to make a difference for him and all of us. So, again, she fully is on board with the medication-induced psychosis. That is what happened. The family still lives in the same home.
Has anything come of this within the last, say, 5 years?
No, nothing. She wants him released. And it seems to me from reading, again, the family's website was in 2012. So it's kind of been a little while since there was any updates from the family themselves that I can find. There was an article post or a blog post that I read, which I will link in my sources, of course, that actually put out more misinformation and wasn't actually very helpful. Once I found the family's website and went down this rabbit hole, guys, I'm going to have to post a picture. I have a picture of some of the tabs I had open so you can see what a full rabbit hole looks like. But so when I first read this, I was like, oh, come on. You're going to blame everything. And then I read everything. Kim documented well on their website.
I mean, so knowing that he was on an SSRI, immediately I would agree. If it would be without looking.
Yeah.
I would think possible because SSRIs are so dangerous for certain type of people.
Yeah.
And I only know for my own self how dangerous they are. But the fact that she can't get anybody to listen to her when he was on lithium when making the decision to plead guilty, guess what? Part of the sentencing when you plead guilty is, are you a free and clear mind?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't under free and clear mind when he admitted guilt.
He wasn't.
So how can it be okay?
Again, it's not, he did it. He knows he did it. Everybody knows he did it.
But
so
saying I'm guilty of first degree murder is totally different than I'm guilty of first degree murder because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Interesting.
Like I said, this was
I don't think
interesting.
Even if he was found guilty by mental defects, he would have never been released from
I highly doubt it.
A mental institution.
No, I highly doubt that.
Especially with 20 years of recorded data showing that he needed medication for certain mental illnesses,
mm-hmm.
and it led to this. I don't see.
See, here's my problem. I understand that the medications were causing depression to come off of it and to do that, but medication only works while you're on it. So if it's working and it's alleviating the anxiety and sleeplessness or something.
It's not made to be on it forever, though.
Right. But what I would think that you would be on it a little bit longer until you learn. Like they were going to therapy. If people had caught all of this and talked through this, like this statement of, no, this is real, that leads me to believe he was having hallucinations. Something wasn't right in his head. Like
what clicked him to, you know what I mean? What would have switched him?
Right.
In
what
a
is it?
15-minute period that you thought nothing was wrong. He kills the kids. He snaps back to it, realizes he kills the kids.
The 911 call, he's so calm. He is the calmest. It's insane. I've listened to the 911 call multiple times.
I don't know. I feel like it may have been a medical issue that caused him to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't matter if he's in an institution or he's in a prison.
Yeah. I think the reason she thinks hospital, and I think this is where I said I think she's mistaken as well, is because she talks about rehabilitation into society. That wouldn't happen in this case.
It's not going to happen. But where is he going to do the most good in this world? If he is not a violent person, just remembering from when I've seen this case, didn't people like bat for him that he was kind, loving,
yes,
very intelligent? So where is he going to do the most good with the rest of his life? Is it going to be an institution, or is it going to be a prison where he can stop other people from making worse decisions long term?
I agree. It would be the prison. I see exactly what you're saying.
So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
And back in 2006, I mean, you have to think, depression medication has only really come to light in the last 20 years. And we're looking really about 20 years since it's become known how dangerous SSRIs could be for certain people.
Yeah. As somebody that's on SSRIs and been on multiple, the one I'm on now does not create as many issues as the couple ones that I was on before, where that made everything worse.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Like, I can 100% attest to SSRIs, if it's not the right one for you, makes it so much worse.
I mean, I highly recommend that if you can get by with Wellbutrin, use Wellbutrin. That's just me.
But that's where we're at right now. Nothing's happened. He's still in prison. The family is just out here. I might rabbit hole a little too far. Win a little bit of real life. When you have your whole life on the internet, it's easy to find you. So I couldn't find anything public from the family since 2020, and it was just shared Facebook posts, including on their page for their family website. So like I said, this case it intrigued the hell out of me. And
what's funny is they don't live very far from us.
They don't.
I mean, I didn't live in South Carolina when this happened, so I wouldn't remember it. But Matthews is, I mean, I have a friend from Jersey that moved to Matthews right before I moved to South Carolina, and I visited her at 17 years old in a car by myself going to her house. So it ain't that far.
It's not. It's not at all. It's not far at all. And I was here in 2006. I don't remember it. I was 11 or 12 maybe. And I don't think my true crime phase had really started where I was super intrigued by stuff yet. But I just thought about it, and I realized while looking at this, nobody really talks about this case. And I was like, how are we not talking about something where it seems like medication played a huge role in why this happened? We should be talking about that. Because again, we both sit here and we tell people about, like, getting help for their mental illnesses and stuff. I feel like this is something where you should be educating yourself too.
I feel like it's really sad. I mean, what he did, he has to live with. And I feel really sad for the wife to keep, like, it was an accident. I understand actions have consequences, though. To keep fighting, and I wonder if that's why she stopped, is what's the difference? Mm-hmm. Where is he going to help? Where is he going to live a more return life? And by return, I mean, on your deathbed, what did you do in this world? Mm-hmm. You killed your daughters, but you saved how many men in prison from continuing wrong acts? How many people is he touching there?
Yeah.
So maybe that's why she's not continuing to fight so loudly.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
If it was me. Does he want to be moved to a mental institution, or is he okay in the prison?
As far as that was not anything I saw of like what he wanted. I mean, other than he now. Yeah, I'm considering it. This is actually, like, sometimes I say I'm considering it, and I'm like, nah, I don't have any intentions. This one, I'm curious, because
I have nothing else to do. Well, you can write this back.
Well, so during my search, when I saw the Oprah clip, I watched that. The next suggested video was, like, talking to him, and it was somebody that had wrote him a letter, and it was just them reading the letter in response. You didn't really get any information. He was just like, I thank you for your letter. I appreciate it, but, like, what are you what are your intentions here?
Oh, I don't blame them.
Which, of course.
Especially after Oprah 2020, People Magazine.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, that didn't tell me anything, YouTube. That wasn't helpful. I got to add that to my sources. That just reminded me. But yeah, so you can write him. He apparently does write back. Definitely something I'm actually going to do because I would like to hear what he has to say.
Do you ever wonder? All right, so you know they don't make much money in prison. Like, they have jobs when they make a little bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know stamps are like 45 cents a fucking stamp, and they only make like 15 cents an hour.
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder how they get all the stamps?
So I was dating somebody that was in jail for a while. At one point, like, we were dating and he went to jail, and the way that we did that with letters
Was you send him stamps?
I was sending him the envelope with the stamp already on it. Because I could not, I don't remember if I could have sent him full stamps, but I was also putting money on his books. Listen, I was a dumbass. Don't ask questions. Don't get with guys that are on meth. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Learn my lesson.
He's 60 years old.
Yeah. And again, they have total of 3 living children. The two are older from his first marriage. I think it's insanity. I wanted to talk about it because of the medication involved. And I thought it was just really interesting, and I thought you would find it interesting too.
Well, here's his inmate number. You can now write him.
Thank you.
No problem. Although it's...
The family's website actually has a P.O. box for him.
Yeah, but I want it to go directly to him. I don't want the wife to send it then to the prison.
Yeah.
She wants to read the mail first.
Probably.
Let's just let their corrections officer read our mail first.
Which I didn't know was a thing.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know.
You really thought they let us write whatever we wanted to inmates? What if we were planning their escape through letters?
I knew they listened to phone calls. I didn't think they read the letters.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
All right. Why is his middle name Warren?
I don't know. I didn't name him.
Anyways,
he
doesn't have a picture. He doesn't have any information. I got his inmate number. That's how you gotta send it to your inmate number.
I know that. So that's all I have for today. Do you have any final thoughts about this?
No, I just want to start pen paling different inmates in this country.
I just want to be pen pals.
I just want to understand.
So that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed that roller coaster ride that was this case. If you have any questions, let us know. I will answer them to the best of my abilities. And make sure you join our Facebook group, Prime and Chill Fam, to ask more questions. Follow us on the Tickety Talk, the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube machine. Like and rate us on Apple Podcasts. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Let us know if there's a case you want us to talk about. We always need suggestions because sometimes it takes us a while to figure out episodes some days. We're like, what do we want to talk about? So if you have something you're particularly intrigued in, but you don't have the time to rabbit hole, let us know. We will rabbit hole for you. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week. Bye!